Winter has officially arrived. Welcome to this nice and snowy Tuesday morning. I thought I would get a episode out of the way so that I can move on with my day and get some things done before our holiday week. The theme of today's episode is definitely going to be gratitude. It is Thanksgiving week, and quite a few things that I'm going to talk about today have to do with being grateful. I am Lorelei Erdo, and you are watching the Knits and Beads podcast, and this is episode 31. Today is November 21st, I believe, and I have a couple of things to show you. I've got a finished object. I've got a nice, huge work in progress, some new acquisitions, and then at the end, I will tell you a little bit about my open house that I had this past weekend. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So, first of all, I guess I'll show you my finished object for the week. This, I'm really happy with how this turned out. You probably remember seeing it on the last couple of episodes. It is the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along shawl, the Building Blocks shawl, and I finished this about a week ago, I guess it was. Yeah, I think so. So I actually did not do the final section. I did the medium size shawl, and the large shawl was really just one more stripe above this one. So here it is. As you can see, it is not lacking in length. And I love it. It's so fun to wear, and I love the drape of it. The yarns I used are, let's see, Madeline Tosh, Tosh Merino Light, and Chicory. This is Manos del Uruguay Fino, and the colorway is Ocean something or other, I believe. The red is Other Kingdoms in the Suede colorway, and this variegated is Madeline Tosh Euro Sock, and I will put the colorway on the screen because I forgot what it's called. So basically the building blocks starts at the bottom and works its way up. There are some things I learned in this project, such as the brioche. This was my first time doing brioche. And otherwise it's just pretty basic striping. I recommend buying this pattern and just doing it because it's a really fun shawl to have in your stash. And I love how everybody's kind of turned out a little bit different, which is kind of neat, just because the way that people chose colors and then also just the order of the colors makes a big difference in how the shawl looks in the end. So overall, I'm very happy. This also has a lot of I-cord. This is an I-cord bind off, which I really enjoyed doing because I really love the I-cord edging. It's just gives it a really nice finished edge. There is I-cord on a couple of these edges as well. Actually, most all of the edges have I-cord, or well, this kind of looks like I-cord, but it's not. Yeah, so that's my finished object for the week. Building block shawl, done. The other finished object that I actually did that I don't have any more to show you because it's with its new owner at the moment, is a brioche hat by Andrea Mowry, and I will insert a picture here so you can see what that looks like. It's called the Vintage Prim hat, and I used blue and white. The blue is Nice and Knit Sport Weight in Anchor. I think it was the Anchor colorway, and the white is Shibui Knits in the ash colorway. And I really enjoyed knitting this hat. It turned out beautifully, but way too big for my head. And that probably has to do with the sport weight. Here I thought it was okay. I told you last time I talked about it. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna fit me fine. And way too big. Way too big. I mean, I'd put it on and it would be slouchy, but anytime I would even just lean back, it'd come right off. So it's got a new owner, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to actually doing more brioche. I have another one of Andrea Mowry's patterns in my queue, and it's a shawl with some brioche lace, and I can't remember the name of it. It might be Bramble. So I'm looking forward to possibly doing that in the future. I don't know how soon I will do that one, but yeah. So that's my finished objects. As for, let's see, what should I talk about next? All right, I guess I'll talk about my sweater. So as I talked about last week, or last time I podcast, which might have been longer than a week, I can't remember. I'm using this beautiful Cascade Eco wool in the Lake Chelan, I have no idea how to pronounce it, heather. It's a teal blue, but it has some bits of yellow in it. It's more of a teal green, I guess, with bits of yellow in it. You can kind of see the yellow. I am knitting the Fireside Pullover by Jane Richmond from her new book with Shannon Cook called Within. Here is the picture of the cardigan. It's not a cardigan, it's a pullover. There's not a picture of it. And I worked on this all weekend, and I have come quite a long way. So here it is. It's a top-down sweater. I've got a big old collar on there, and I'm into the body now. I just did my first decrease for the waist shaping. It is extremely squishy, and I am loving working on it. This is actually one of the easiest things I've ever knit. I mean, literally, compared to some of the shawls I've done, which have lace and increasing and decreasing, and then with the, you know, I've done brioche, I've done all kinds of things. This is so easy. I mean, this is like really simple stuff. And I don't know why I was so scared. So if you've never knit a sweater before and you're brand new at this, I highly recommend this as a first sweater project, because this yarn is considered a heavy worsted or light bulky weight, and knits up so fast. I mean, literally, I did this whole section over the weekend, and I didn't knit non-stop because Saturday was my open house. I knit quite a bit yesterday afternoon, but this part went a little bit slower just because of its being ribbing, but it's gonna be so nice to have a sweater this color. I love it. And it's not even coming up in the video the right color. It's much brighter and richer of a teal blue. So super easy, super duper easy pattern, and I'm really loving working on it. However, I don't want to get burned out, so I've been thinking about another project that I can cast on while I'm working on this. So I do have one picked out. It's a pattern that I've already knit before. The 3-color cashmere cowl, yay! However, and this is being held in my Jenna Rose Handmade bag. Jenna Rose Handmade on Etsy. I've got my pattern printed out and ready. I've got my yarn ready. The problem is I do not have a size US 3 needle, which is what I want to knit this with. It calls for a 2.5, the US 2.5. I'm going to go up to a 3 because I'm a fairly tight knitter. And I don't want it to be super tight. I want it to have a little bit of fluidity to it. So I do not have a US 3 needle. How is that possible? Well, I don't think I've knit a single thing with a US 3 needle, believe it or not. So when Joe and I go away for the holiday, I'm going to stop in at Webb's, hopefully, and pick up a US 3 needle either on the way there or on the way back, and I'll be able to get one. However, I do not know what size needle I should use. Locatelli is the designer of the 3-color cashmere cowl, in case you aren't familiar with it. And I'm sorry I don't have a picture. I'll put a picture of mine here so you can see what my previous cowl looked like. Which I love, but I believe I knit some of that in a sport weight yarn also, and I used a size 4 needle, so it's really big. It's bigger than I was expecting it to be, but it's fine. However, Joji does not specify the length of circular needle. It just says 3mm needles. So sir, I don't know if a 24-inch would be... 24-inch might be okay because the finished measurements of the circumference of this cowl is 26 inches. So I think 16 inches might be too small. But the next one up, I believe, is a 24-inch, and so that's what I'm going to look for, I guess. So here's my yarn choices. And this is part of my new acquisitions. I placed an order about a month ago with the Plucky Knitter. They did a big update and they had some really pretty small batch colorways. Their small batch colorways are speckled generally and aren't their typical solid or they don't really do a variegated, so they do mostly solid colors. Here's their label. And this is Primo fingering, and this particular small batch is called number 20. This is 385 yards, and it's a superwash merino cashmere nylon blend. I really wanted to do this cowl in cashmere because it's a 3-color cashmere cowl. So this is kind of a light bluish gray base, and the speckles are green and magenta for the most part. There is some brown and some pink. It's super soft. So I'm going to pair that with a solid dark gray, and this is YOTH yarns, or Yarn on the House, in black pepper. And this is leftovers from another project that I have done. And this is Sweet Georgia in raspberry, and this is their Cashlux Fine. So I thought those three colors would look really nice together. Doing some striping with these two, and then my little pop of color will be this. So once I get my needle, I can get that cast on. I'm excited. I really loved working this cowl pattern. It's so fun. It's stripes, and then there's little sections of lace. And I'm looking forward to having another one in my stash. So I'm gonna transition into my new acquisitions, because I have a couple of other Plucky knitter skeins I wanted to show you. These are also two other ones that I ordered in that last update, or last month's update actually. These are also small batch. This one with the light blue base is number 19. And the speckles are green and some red, or dark pink maybe. No, they're red. And there's some like brighter aqua colors in there. Just love it. It's also an MCN. This one is more of a gray base, and the speckles are magenta and rust and blue. I really love these because they're more subtle, and I like the idea of pairing them with more solid colors. And I think that they'll be nice to pair with other things for shawls or whatever it is I'm working on. So that's that new acquisition. The other new acquisition that I have, remember this poncho that I did? This poncho is Boden, and I knit this and wore it at Rhinebeck, and I knit it for the Nice and Knit Pretty Poncho Knit Along. Well, guess what? I won something. I won a $50 gift certificate to the Nice and Knit website. They chose my name in the Knit Along entries, and I won $50 gift certificate. Well, it didn't take long to use it, of course. So these are what I picked out. I chose some worsted weight, and this one is Oyster. It's kind of a light sage green color, and this one is Nutmeg. This is Nutmeg, a beautiful warm brown. And I picked those out to do possibly a Nancy Marchant. Is it Merchant or Marchant? I think it's Marchant. She's a big brioche knitter designer. And she just has a new book out called Leafy Brioche, and I was looking at this particular cowl to do with this. Unfortunately, I can't buy the pattern just by itself. I have to buy the whole book. So I may look and see if I can find the book. I don't know. In a bookstore maybe, or I'll look online and maybe I'll order it. I'm not sure. I don't know if I want the ebook. I feel like ebooks may be lost in the future, and I just like having a real book. So I'm definitely going to look into buying more books, especially since last week my computer was on the fritz again. So my computer was in the shop all week last week. I operated my jewelry business and all of my online business via my iPhone, which gets old after a couple of days. I don't know exactly what happened, but it would not boot up. So I brought it into the shop for them to have it all week, and when I called Friday to find out what the status was, because I hadn't heard from them, they said, we don't really see a problem. We've been running diagnostics all week and haven't been able to run across your problem again. And we've also been playing videos, because usually the videos, like on YouTube, is what prompts my computer to freeze up. So they had been playing videos for like a full 24 hours and it wasn't doing what it had done. So I picked it up. They did not charge me, luckily, because I had had this problem already about a month ago, or maybe a few months ago, I guess it was. And when I had had that initial problem, they replaced the memory card, and so they didn't charge me this time because they didn't have a problem. They didn't find the problem, they didn't fix the problem. So I picked it up, I plugged it back in, and it's working okay so far. I'm staying away from YouTube, I can tell you that. So yeah. I haven't talked yet about being grateful. There's quite a few things I'm grateful for these days. The first being feeling very fortunate for the fact that we've been able to do some home improvements lately. One, we got a gas stove. That's huge because we were using a glass top electric stove that I hated before, and I felt like I burnt everything. Joe and I really love to cook, so this was a huge improvement. And the reason why we got the gas stove is because while we were having a new furnace put in, yes, that's another thing I am grateful for, is a furnace that is... Our furnace was not broken. Our old furnace was not broken. However, it's like 30 years old. So we did not want to deal with that this winter, breaking down unexpectedly. You just never know. So we were able to make it happen. So as they were putting in our new gas furnace, it's gas. We have natural gas here. We said, you know what, why don't you put in a gas line so that we can have a gas stove? And then like Joe put our old stove up on Craigslist and literally sold it within a day. And so then we went a day without any stove at all. And then we went and picked out a gas stove, and voila, we have a stove. So we got a new stove and we have a new furnace. Another thing we did was service our hot water tank, so I'm grateful for the opportunity to do that because we should have been doing that every year and I didn't know that. And then also we have had insulation put in, so we last week got insulation blown in 2-inch thick spray foam insulation on all the walls, exterior walls of our basement. And yesterday they came and sprayed insulation in our attic. And Joe and I have been joking the last 2 days about how we already feel warmer. And I really do. I am not wearing a sweater right now, and normally I would be because it would be freezing in here. It is snowing outside. We have 4 inches of snow on the ground. It's cold. It's cold. Winter is here. So I am super grateful to be looking forward to a long winter, which normally it is in upstate New York. I'm looking forward to a warm home, and I could not be more grateful for that. So that's one thing I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for all of you who watch this little podcast and hear me talk about stuff. And I forgot I did not mention this. So this came, Making Magazine. I'm going to subscribe to this magazine. Yes. This I ordered on a pre-order, and I got it last week, and I love it. I love it. I want to knit everything, with the exception of that sweater. I don't really want a stag sweater, but every project in here is so stinking beautiful. There are sewing projects, quilting projects, needlework, embroidery, knitting. There's recipes. You can't get anything better in a magazine. Seriously. And then awesome articles about sheep. And there are projects based for children. And I'm in love with this. Melanie Berg. And this. The Open Waters Cowl. Just take a look at that for a second. That is so cool. Something about that just has my heart all aflutter. This is, I'm using Aran Weight yarn. I have 3 skeins of gorgeous Plucky Knitter Aran in a kind of navy blue color, and I'm going to knit this with it. So hopefully next time I podcast, I will show you the start of that project. This, for some reason, reminds me of calamari. I don't know why. It has a very squid-like look to it, to me. And I can't get enough. I might even call it my calamari cowl. Yes, I will. Because it looks like calamari. I also want to knit this. I love that. Takes, of course, a bajillion yards of yarn, but especially for my size. But now I'm not scared of knitting sweaters, so I'm going to knit all the sweaters. Maybe not, but I am definitely going to knit another sweater after I'm done with this one. So yeah, I absolutely highly recommend Making Magazine. Follow them on Instagram. It's amazing. They have a great Instagram feed. And this is put out by the lovely Carrie Bostic Hodge. I wish I knew how to say her name. Carrie Bostic Hogue is super talented. She's a designer, a knitting designer, and then this is an amazing magazine. I have, this is number 2. The last one was Flora. This one is Fauna. So the whole magazine has a nice theme. Oh my God, this. Oh my gosh, there are so many great projects in this. I just have to show you one more. Oh, 2 more. That is adorable. It's a little knit bag that you take on the beach and collect your shells in. My sister would be head over heels for that thing. She loves the beach. I can see it done in pink and white for my sister, so I might have to knit that. And then I definitely need to knit that. It's like a shrug, and I love it. I want to make everything in here. Everything. And that's how I felt about the last issue too, so that's why I definitely have to subscribe. So the only other thing I want to talk about is my new favorite podcast, MichelleOwls. look her up on Instagram. She has a really awesome podcast called The Owl in the Oak Tree. I love her so much. I could listen to her all day. She does not race through her podcast. Have I already talked about her? I might have. I know I was telling my friend Nancy about her, but Michelle, you have a great podcast. I love it. I love it. She's extremely talented and knits beautiful things. She has 2 boys and she knits for them, and she knits for herself, and she knits a lot of gorgeous sweaters. So I'm of course inspired by that. And I just really love her demeanor. She's very calm, and she makes me feel calm when I watch her podcast, and I recommend it to you. So I guess that's it for today. It's a nice little short episode. I want to say thank you for coming back and checking out my podcast if you're a returning viewer. If you are a new viewer, I hope that I talked about some stuff that maybe you'll be interested in checking back to see my progress on. I'm sure there's a million things I forgot to tell you about, like that I'm a jewelry designer who knits in her free time. I design jewelry, and that brings me to, I guess I'm not done talking. Sorry. If you don't want to hear anything about my business, you can log off now, and I'll see you next time to talk more about knitting. But this past weekend, yesterday, I had my annual open house, which is a little sale that I host at my house. I made a couple of treats, and I said yesterday. I'm thinking yesterday was, it feels like today is Monday, but today is Tuesday. Yesterday, Joe was home because it was a snow day, and because he's a teacher and he got the day off. So Saturday is when I hosted my open house. I had a nice layout of snacks. I made a zucchini bread, chocolate chip zucchini bread. I made pizza roll. I bought some cookies, some lemon cookies, and now I'm stuck with all these lemon cookies because nobody ate them. But love a crunchy lemon cookie with tea. It's like my favorite thing, so money not wasted there. It went okay. The last couple of years, my open house has become a little less attended than in years past. I kept hearing a noise, and it was the water fountain for the cats. So anyway, that's another reason why I'm grateful. I am so thankful for the people that did show up and support me. So it was a success for the most part. It was just grateful for the people that did show up, and it's awesome that people show up for me. It's awesome. And I just cannot be more thankful. So there was that, and I had made a lot of new jewelry last week for the open house. So it's jewelry that I did never list online. So yesterday I took the morning and listed all of that. So there's a lot of new jewelry in my website at the moment from last week. I made a lot of earrings, and there a couple of those sold yesterday, but I do have quite a few pairs left. Yeah, so lots of jewelry. And a heads up, I probably will be having some sort of Black Friday through Cyber Monday sale of some sort. So keep your eyes open for that if you're interested. My website is lorelaiurdo.com. I also sell jewelry on Etsy. My shop is called lorelaiurdojewelry.etsy.com. You can keep up with my jewelry happenings on Facebook also. I have a business page, which is Lorelei Urdo Jewelry, and I post new jewelry on my personal page a lot also, which is Lorelei Hill Urdo. So feel free to friend me there or watch me at my business page, or my Instagram is Lorelei Erdo. I'm on Ravelry as Lorelei Erdo, and that's where you can find me online. So thank you for listening to me chat, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye.